Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Armoury. Welcome to Repostus Pod and Sports Talk, and welcome to Full Time Sports Network. I'm your host, Bobby. We are going to be joined by Luke. Luke's just having some parenting issues at the moment, so Luke will definitely be with us at some point shortly. Whilst I'm waiting for Luke, I thought I will talk a little bit about some Arsenal news. I haven't got any slides. I haven't been prepared for this. It's just what I know this morning regarding Arsenal. Reece Nelson is about to sign on the dotted line. It has been agreed for a while. Just waiting for the confirmation. This is Arsenal. We like to do panto. So yeah, we will be. He will be signing. So that's a deal that's definitely happening. We've been talking about Declan Rice. The bid will come in Thursday or Friday once West Ham have had their final tonight against Fiorentina. So good luck to West Ham. Let's hope you beat Fiorentina. The last bit of news is concerning Caicedo. Now, Caicedo is a strange one because Caicedo's got a lot of options, very much like Declan Rice, but the Declan Rice situation it is been no bids. However, with Caicedo, bids have come in, bids have been accepted. Now it's down to Caicedo what he wants to do. So we've just got to wait for what Caicedo wants to do. So yeah, that one's going to be a lot one. Got one for. Got to wait for that one, if I'm honest. Big up to Moss, messages at 3 a.m. I'm guessing his time. No, not 3 a.m. I don't know what that. Oh, 3 a.m. His this show will be going out at 3:30 a.m. his time. That's what it means by that. We did have to change it a little bit. Luke's still running a little bit behind, but Luke will drop in when he can. Big up to Jay Anger. Yes, did a show on that yesterday on Full Time Sports Network. Anger Postecoglou signed for Tottenham yesterday. He is the new manager, 4-year deal. So I think that's a good fit for Tottenham, if I'm honest. But let's wait and see. I'm sure he'll do a good job. He is a very good coach. There could be other issues that could stop him from fulfilling his potential at Tottenham, which isn't his fault. So look, we'll wait and see what happens with Anger. Big up to Chris, got one for Numpty of the season. Mate, I think we could do that for every single team in the Premier League, and we would be here for 24-hour stream talking about the Numpties of the season. There is many, many nominations for me from every club. We've all got Numpties. That's what we love football about. But we're just going to wait for Luke for a little bit longer. Well, obviously, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be going through every player, giving them their rating. I write them down. We've got another stream tonight with Gumza and Canners. That'll be at 8 p.m. on the Armoury. And they will be giving me their ratings of the players. So it's everyone that's played over 5 games for Arsenal. I have excluded Lokonga due to the fact Lokonga, yes, he's played over 10 games for us this season. However, he went out on loan to Crystal Palace. He won't be part of our season, won't be part of Arsenal next season. So I've just moved on from him very quickly because that's the way I deal with things. Marquinhos, he's played 6, if I remember correctly. But again, he went out on loan at Norwich. I don't think we'll be seeing him full-time at Arsenal next season. I think it will probably be a loan, if not something else with Marquinhos. So again, that is why I've not included him. There will be a show hopefully next Monday. And because I'm going to talk about this person, I wish to wish him a very happy anniversary for today. He is a very important part and cog of the Armoury TV. And I want to wish him and his lovely wife a happy anniversary for today. But yes, I will be doing a stream with Tony, which will be the final one. There'll be 4 parts in total, but there'll also be a lot done behind the scenes, talking to other people. And when I've got all the numbers, I will then do an average, and I will then work out a way of announcing officially who has got the game of the season, who was the shock of the season, the disappointing player of the season, the unsung hero of the season, the flop signing of the season, the signing of the season, the young player of the season, and the player of the season. Once I have, there will be around 50 people that would have taken part in this eventually. It is quite a big slog for me doing it on the streams, but I will be talking to quite a few off stream as well who will be giving me their numbers, and I will do the average and I will work out exactly who is getting the rewards. So, because we had Satvik and Moss on Sunday. I don't want to go through the ratings, but I will go with the lowest ratings that were given. So, Al Neni and Jesus was the lowest rating for Satvik. Moss was Tomiyasu, Tierney, El Neni. So there's quite a few low ones. The highest rating for Satvik was Saka. The highest rating for Moss was Odegaard. So it's going to be interesting to see what Luke's ratings are. For the game of the season, Satvik went for Wolves. Moss went for Newcastle. Shock of the season. So this can be anything, even title challenge. I've included that. It's whatever you found shocking about the season. So for Satvik, it was the Reece Nelson goal. For Moss, unfortunately, it was the Sporting Lisbon halfway line goal. Kind of unfortunately remind us of Naeem's goal against us many years ago. The disappointing player of the season, Satvik went for Jesus. Moss went for Partey. The unsung player of the season was Kivior for Satvik and Gabriel for Moss. Flop signing of the season was Jorginho for Satvik and Fabio Vieira for Moss. Signing of the season was Trossard and Jesus for Moss. The young player of the season was Saka for Satvik, Martinelli for Moss. Unsurprisingly, Moss's player of the season was Odegaard, and Saka was Satvik's young player of the season. I'm probably, whilst we're waiting for Luke, because it won't take me long to do this, to be honest, I might quickly just go through him myself whilst we wait for Luke. Hopefully, Luke will be able to join us. So, these are the players that we'll be going with. So, Ramsdale, I'm going to give him a very quick rating. I'm not going to explain why. I'm going to give him an 8. Who have we got next? We are going to go with Turner. He gets a... I'm going to have to be kind, aren't I? I'm going to give him a 6 for Turner. Big up to Colm. I'm just waiting for Luke at the moment, so I'm just going to quickly do the ratings myself. Tomiyasu, he gets a 7. Ben White gets an... this is tricky. A 9 from me. Tierney gets a 7. Sinchenko, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get a 7 from me. Saliba, he gets an 8. Gabriel gets an 8 as well. Kivior gets a 7. Holding gets a 7. Partey, sorry. You're going to have to get a 6. El Neni gets a 6. Jorginho. 7. Xhaka gets an 8 from me. Fabio Vieira gets a 6. And ESR gets a 5, if I'm honest. Odegaard gets an 8. Saka, none of this was his fault this season, so I'm going to give him a 9. Nelson gets a 7. Martinelli gets a 9. Trossard gets an 8. Eddie gets Sorry, Eddie, you're going to get a 5 as well. Jesus, I don't agree with the 5, but I do get it. 8. I'm going to have to give him a 7. Arteta, for me, gets a 7. The game of the season, the Aston Villa game away, has to be. Shock of the season, the title challenge. Title challenge. For me, disappointing player of the season. Oh, that's tough, that one. Gonna have to say Party. Unsung player of the season. I've just realised I haven't been pressing the button. Unsung person of the season. Oh, dear. That's a tricky one, that one. Unsung. Here's Luke. I will add Luke just after I finish doing these myself. Unsung player of the season for me. Oh, this is tough. I'm gonna have to say no, because he's been sung about. See, I take things very literal, so it's going to be tricky for me. Unsung, someone that doesn't really talk about him. I think Ben White. I'm going to have to go Ben White. Might be the right back association, but I don't care. Frop signing of the season, Marquinhos for me. Expecting way more. Signing of the season, Jorginho, because he proved a lot of people wrong, so I'm going to give that to him. Young player of the season, unsurprisingly, will be Martinelli. The player of the season, I'm actually going to give it to Xhaka. So there. Right, Luke is in the house. So big up to Luke.
Morning, Bobby.
Morning. No. Honestly, I've explained it. Look, we're all parents. We all kind of totally understand that lots of things can just happen out of nowhere. So I've quickly done mine, so that's all good. Right. It took me 15 minutes, so that's not too bad. Right, so Luke, you know what's happening. Moss and that sat figure have already done this. So all you've got to do is give me just a number. You don't have to be detailed as Moss was on Sunday. You can just a number, move on. Yeah. Absolutely fine. But it's up to you how you want to do it. So we're going to start with Ramsdale, mate.
I'll give him an 8. I think he's made some outstanding saves. He has had a couple of errors as well, but I think on the whole, I think he's been excellent.
Yep, absolutely fine. We'll go to Turner.
Bit harder to rate, given he only really played a few games. So I'll give him a 7.
Okay.
For the games he did play.
Okay. You've been spending too much time with Moss. Tommy Yasu.
Yeah, I mean, he played mostly well, didn't he? You know, I think I'll give him a 7.
Okay.
Because I think the availability is something that we need, and he's not always available. And I know it's not his fault, and also he made a real bad error against City. When we was on top of that game, and the momentum shifted, went to them. I know we equalised and still had a whole second half to play, but that was a real bad mistake.
Yeah, 100%. Right, we'll move on to Ben White.
Ben White gets an 8 for me.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Let's move on to Tierney.
I'm gonna have to give him a 6.
Okay, no worries. Don't worry, you don't need to explain it because
no
one's right, no one's wrong, so it's absolutely fine. But basically once I've done all this, there'll be about 50 people that would have done their ratings, so it'll just give me a rough idea on what people have actually thought. Like obviously Satvik on Sunday went for 5 and Jesus, and I didn't bite. I didn't go what. Just let him do it, and that's absolutely fine. He obviously sees things differently, and that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Sinchenko,
I'll give him a 7. Again, availability, and also I think he tailed off quite badly towards the end of the season, like a lot of the players did.
Yeah.
So he gets a 7.
No, that's absolutely fine, mate. Saliba,
I'll give him an 8.
okay.
He did have a spell just after the World Cup where he wasn't so good, but mostly, and you could see how badly we missed him when he came out of the team.
Yeah, totally agree. Gabriel,
he gets an 8 as well. Yeah,
okay.
I think he's very consistent. Did make some errors at the start of the season, so can't really give him a 9.
Yeah,
so I'll give him an 8.
No, that's absolutely fine. Kivior,
I think promising. I'll give him a 7.
7, awesome. Holding,
I think he was thrown under the bus by Arteta, personally. Being asked to do things he can't do.
Yep.
I'll give him a 7.
Absolutely fine. Thomas Partey
was brilliant for most of the season, but I think he's the one that dropped off the most. And because that resulted us in not winning the title, I have to give him a 6.
No, that's absolutely. That was my score as well, so don't worry about it. Al Neni,
I'll have to just give him a 5 because it's hard to really, not a lot of appearances. I remember you said on the show he only really just got through your threshold, didn't he, to sort of be rated?
Yeah, just about, yeah. See, like I said before, you came on stream that Lokonga and Marquinhos would have made my threshold, but I don't think they're going to feature next season at Arsenal for different reasons. So I didn't want to put them in it either because it's just not worth talking about them because I don't see them being here next season. We'll move on to Jorginho.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7. Didn't really make any mistakes, and he did a job for us, didn't he? Came in and did a job for us, and wasn't as bad as what I thought and what a lot of other people thought he was going to be.
Yeah, Colm, you've got to behave. I've just seen your comment. You nearly made me giggle. Right, Xhaka.
Xhaka's been outstanding, in terms of. I mean, if you look at that goal contribution, who would have thought that?
Yeah,
Granit Xhaka would have got 9 goals and 7 assists. That's all competitions, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, although I did think he was a bit anonymous though in that last stretch.
Yeah,
I think that's just. I don't think that's a mentality issue with him.
Yeah,
I just think he could. He kind of he got to a level, and the team as a collective couldn't sustain it. So I will actually give him an 8, even though he did kind of tail off himself a little bit.
not a problem. Fabio Vieira.
Fabio, we saw glimpses of brilliance from him, but I have to give him a 4 because I think I expected more from him.
Okay, no problem. ESR.
Yeah, I mean, all substitute appearance, no starts.
No.
I have to give him a 4 as well.
Okay, fine. Odegaard.
Well, I think he's been outstanding. 9 is a bit too high. I'm going to give him an 8 as well.
Don't worry, Moss will come for me as well. I gave him an 8.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We'll just go in hiding later. It's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Because when Moss sees that, he's gonna hate us. So Saka next.
Saka. Again, like Odegaard, outstanding. Did have some quiet games towards the end of the season, so I can't give him a 9. So I'll have to give him an 8.
Okay, cool. Nelson.
Nelson had one of the moments of the season, didn't he? So I thought he always looked lively when he came on most of the time. I'll give him a 7.
Absolutely fine. Martinelli.
He has to have a. I mean, he was. Again, he almost had that almost Freddie Lundberg end of the season, if you remember back in, I think it was 2002 when Perez got injured.
Yeah.
Because he was like getting a goal or an assist. He really, if that had resulted in a title, I would have given him a higher rating. Because we didn't win a title, that's obviously not his fault. But I will give him an 8.
Okay. Trossard.
Trossard, I think, outstanding in spurts. I'll give him a 7.
Okay. Right, here we go. Eddie.
I'll have to give him a 5.
Okay. No problem. Jesus.
He'll get an 8 from me as well.
Fair enough. Hang on. Before that, Mikel Arteta.
Did brilliantly, especially before the World Cup and just after it. But I think he made a few bad mistakes. So I'll have to mark him down for that. So he gets a 7.
Absolutely fine. Right, now we're going to go into the actual awards. So, game of the season for you, Luke.
Game of the season for me was the home game against Liverpool. It was, I felt, a statement win for us. We hadn't beaten them for a little while. I remember on the watch along that you did, you was nervous like we all were. Because it felt like we played really well, but they came back twice.
Yeah.
And they actually, up to that point, had their best game of the season. Because they weren't playing well, were they? But,
no.
It's always, sod's law. A team has their best game against us.
Yeah, it's typical.
But I think it was such an important win for us, for our team, and at the time, and as well to back that up because we'd beat Tottenham the week earlier. They were unbeaten coming to us.
Yeah,
beat them, and to back that up by beating Liverpool, I thought was massive.
Yeah,
so that's why it's my game of the season.
No, it's absolutely fine. So the shock of the season. Now, obviously, this can be a title challenge or anything that you found shocking this season about Arsenal. Okay. So what have you voted for?
Shock of the season, I think the way we started against Southampton for me, because when you need to win a game to keep yourself in a title race.
Yeah.
And we'd had problems before. Bournemouth scored within 10 seconds. Leeds almost scored as well.
Yep.
That was only a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before the Southampton game. We'd had plenty of warnings, in previous games. And to see the way we started that game, go 1-0 down, and then it was 2-0 down as well, wasn't it, before we got one back?
Yeah.
And the way we played, we pulled it back at the end. But for me, that against the bottom team of the season, bottom team of the league, sorry, it's just unforgivable for me that the way we started. And I could have gone for how we performed against Brighton as well, but I think the damage was done in these games, in that little run of games that we had.
No, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you totally. Right, the disappointing player of the season for you.
Disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think I have to go for Fabio because I thought he was going to do better than what he did.
Okay.
He just too easily knocked off the ball. He didn't really sort of impact the games as well as I thought he would have done.
Yeah.
So especially when he made his debut against Man United. I saw something in that game. He made a couple of passes, and I saw something. I thought, oh yeah, this player looks tasty. I think he's going to be. And he had that goal against Brentford. He had the assist against Wolves. So after the World Cup, so especially because he didn't go to the World Cup, so I was expecting a lot from him. Well, more than what we got anyway.
Yeah. Unsung person of the season. Now, this can be a coach, doesn't have to necessarily be a player. So, who is your unsung player or person of the season?
Yeah, I mean, on the season review that me and Moss did with Steve and with Trevor, I went for Ben White, and I know that perhaps in the fan base he's not so much unsung, but I think how well he played.
Yeah,
for most of the season, how he dealt with some of the best wingers in the world, I don't think it quite got the credit it could have got within the national press and with our wonderful England manager that we both love so much, Bobby. Who doesn't select Ben White, even when Reece James was injured and he doesn't fancy Trent, rightly so, I think, for that right back role.
Yeah,
I think. So that's why he's my unsung person.
No, absolutely fine. Flop signing of the season.
Flop signing of the season. Yeah, I mean this has to be Fabio again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine.
I don't feel like I'm picking on the lad, but
no, that's absolutely fine. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Look, we paid a lot of money for someone that.
That's the thing. It's 35 million.
If you hadn't seen him before, you would have gone, that's a lot of money. It's a bit like Fabio Silva, who signed for Wolves, that 17-year-old, for 35 million. The thing is, he is a flop, like a massive flop. There is no talent in that player whatsoever. I know he's coming back from PSV. I don't know how he got that move to PSV, but there we go. But, I get it with Fabio. If you hadn't seen him, obviously I've seen him, so I've had the privilege to see him. I know he's got the talent, but you never. This is where Moss doesn't like us saying Prem proven.
Yeah.
But this is where it can backfire. If you haven't got the stature, the bulk to cope with the Premier League, you will flop. And I guarantee he'll go out somewhere. If he was to go somewhere next season, let's say to Spain, I guarantee you'll hear so much amazing stuff about him. It just doesn't work out sometimes, and we've had loads of those at Arsenal. It just doesn't work,
That's why I said I would loan him out. I don't think he's going to progress with us with the minutes. I know James, in his own words, James from the Armoury, for people who don't just randomly naming someone.
Yeah.
He thinks he's going to, in his words, explode, and I don't. That's his opinion. I don't see that. I don't see how he goes from not being able to physically cope at the minute. In May to all of a sudden in August. I don't understand how that happens.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you.
And he might just be one of those that isn't suited to the Premier League. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I think, and people will be probably coming at me and others. Say we send him on loan to, I don't know, Real Sociedad, and they end up buying him for 30 million or something, and then he ends up winning the World Cup with Portugal or something. People are going to say, "Oh, why did you want rid of him?" But it's we're not saying he's a bad player. It just sometimes doesn't work out.
Exactly. We've had loads of them at Arsenal, and it just happens, and you just have to move on from him. This is why I don't get too lovey-dovey about a certain player, because sometimes it just doesn't work out, and there's many reasons.
Yeah, I hope it still might not. Next season there's another season that I reckon. I don't know if Arteta is going to loan him out. I think you said that's unlikely at the minute, is it? Or
well, the fact that we're trying to sign an attacking midfielder concerns me a little bit, because we're obviously trying to buy two defensive-minded midfielders, and we're also trying to find an attacking midfielder. It kind of concerns me what we're going to do with Fabio. So we'll wait and see. Look, I was warned that there's going to be a lot of people unhappy with who we sell. that might have been included at me. That might have been aimed at me as well. Maybe I need to prepare myself for someone that I don't want to see leave.
Yeah, because I thought when you said that, I thought you probably meant Tierney and maybe Emil Smith Rowe.
Yeah, Smith Rowe's definitely staying now, so that's
so now
good.
he's staying. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll move on to the next one, the signing of the season for you.
Right. Well, yeah. Again, on the review that we did, me and Moss, I went for Zinchenko, so I'm not going to change to a different player. The reason I went for Zinchenko is I think for the majority of the season, how he was such an integral part of the transformation that we had this season under Arteta. Despite, I don't like all this new gen way of saying it, and I think defensively he's probably never going to be good enough as what me and you would want him to be. But if you look at him from what Arteta wanted him to do, he excelled, beyond what I think a lot of people thought he was capable of doing.
Yeah.
So that is why he is my signing of the season, even though I'm not a big fan of the inverted and all this hybrid stuff.
Yeah.
Despite my own how I like to see football, I have to put that to one side and actually look at it objectively.
Yeah, totally agree. Right. Young player of the season. So they have to be 21 at the start of August last year. So who have you gone for?
Bukayo Saka, I think I went for. He, the amount of times he was either scoring the equalising goal or the goal that won the game. Very impressive for a young player. Yeah. The way that he's improved season by season. The improvement of Martinelli, for example, I think has been, and Odegaard has been more apparent, and they've definitely improved by more. But Saka maintaining his levels and sort of increasing them is why he's my young player of the season.
No, absolutely fine. Right, player of the season, and this has not been told by Moss, so you are free to say whoever you want. Who have you gone for?
My player of the season is it's nothing to do with Moss. It is Martin Odegaard, because
okay.
I wanted what I said at the start of the season, what I wanted to see from him. He's delivered. I wanted him, because at the start, a lot of last year and that loan spell he had, I had all these new gen people telling me look at all the scan rate. Look at how much, I don't know what he's not RoboCop. What are you on about?
I know.
But I said I want to see goals and assists. That's what I want to see, and he's delivered. Those goals and assists that I wanted to see from him. Despite, I was told, the game isn't just about goals and assists. Well, what's it about then? How do you win football games? Who's going to be doing all these goals and assists if it's not Odegaard and it's not Saka and it's not Martinelli? Who's doing it all?
Yeah, exactly. It's madness, isn't it? Let's be honest, mate.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, Luke. You've done all your answers. Let's get into the comments. Big up to Colm. I won't tell you the other thing that he said, but one for all of them for losing me money. Big up to Arsenal Rider. Moss is asleep. Matoma turn white. Look, every right back has a bad game. And
he had the odd. Yeah, Matoma did.
Odegaard is a flop according to Arsenal Rider. 100% he's not a flop. Zinchenko lost his title. No, he didn't. It's Martinelli, more important goals. Fair enough. But I have got one question to ask you, and Moss will probably come for me again later. Turner is not happy with his role at Arsenal.
Okay.
So what are we doing? We're selling him?
If he's not happy, and he is the US #1 goalkeeper, I know the World Cup's 3 years away, but there's still other international tournaments. There's they have their kind of version of the European Championships this summer. I think it's called the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
He wants to be a #1. He's been a #1 before he came here. He was a #1, wasn't he?
Yeah.
At the club that he was at. He's become the US #1. I've got no problem. If he wants to go, then we sell him. And the role of how you view the number 2 goalkeeper, you can do it different ways. You can get a goalkeeper for little money, like we paid for him, and then have him for a year or two, build up his value, and then sell him, and then get another one. Because if you want to play, the goalkeepers, you don't get substitute appearances, do you?
No.
And the other option is that you get a veteran goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Ben Foster, but a Ben Foster type who's happy to come in and be a number 2 for a couple of years and then retire. That's your other option that you can do.
All I can say is that I'm not taking on Deadpool to get Ben Foster in. I'll tell you that now. Not happening. Look, but yes, I would say that I think if Turner wants to go, let him go. I'm not going to keep him here. Just we haven't got enough quality in our own Arsenal system to have as a number 2. Okonkwo, not good enough yet. Cole Hine, not good enough yet. So I would suggest do what most clubs are doing. Experience number 2. Someone that's 32, 33, going to cost pretty much nothing. That's good with his feet. Because I still want Ramsdale being pushed. I don't want him going, this is my shirt. I can just stroll in, do my job, clock out. I want him to work for it. All players should. There's just it's just mental. Arsenal Rider asking here why Odegaard over Martinelli. Look, everyone's different. I
think he was more consistent. I think he was consistently. He was a 7 or 8 out of 10 most games. Martinelli wasn't. So that was my reasoning.
Look, my reasoning to give an Odegaard an 8. I gave him an 8. Is something different, and it's more to do with the mentality of Odegaard. Like, he is meant to be our captain. So for some of those games, in my opinion, this is my opinion, Moss, before you come for me, is as a captain, he should have got those players to perform better. That 3-0 against Brighton, that draw against Southampton should not have happened because of the captain. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Do they? The thing is, do they listen? Would they listen to him? Because
should he be captain then?
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? If you're in any environment, if you're in I used to be a bus driver, so it's predominantly a male environment, or in factories I've worked in. If you're in a male-dominated environment, you can try and be the big man if you want, but if you haven't got the respect of the men, they're not going to listen to you.
I'm ex-army, so for being a captain means I'm literally retired captain. So I know what you kind of should have from the people that are beside you, and they are his peers, but he is the one that everyone should be listening to. And for me, I just don't think he has enough. Fantastic player, don't get me wrong. He's an absolutely brilliant player. I just don't think he's captain. I just don't think he is. I think if we do manage to get Declan, personally, I'd give it straight to Declan.
Not a problem for me. Yeah.
But I can't see Arteta doing it. I can't see Arteta being brave.
Because he's basically his adopted son, so he's not going
to. Cole saying bring in Buffon. Look, I'm not on about that age, but someone experienced. There's enough out there that I think we could be saying.
Isn't Coleman goalkeeper?
Yeah, Cole, you can sign for Arsenal, mate. The travelling backwards and from Doncaster won't be too much of an issue, but the lad Martinez at Aston Villa is a good World Cup winning goal. Just saying. Look, I know we are going for a real with that one. Look, that was a different situation. Martinez has shown his true colours since he's left, so I have no problem with it now. If I'm honest, what you make of Saka value now at 200 million? Like this is the thing with these values. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean we can sell Saka for 200 million. It just doesn't. It's a stupid system that someone has created that is to do with his value, his age, his international level, which again I think is just totally wrong, because England have a better international history than someone like Indonesia, let's say, but there's a world-class player in Indonesia. His market value is never going to be anywhere like Saka because his country is Indonesia. So it's frustrating. That's why I don't even bother talking about it, because it absolutely frustrates the heck out of me. Your second choice keeper needs to be just as good, but not better than your first choice. There is a small gap between the two. 100%. Cole, get your shirt on, get your socks on, mate. You're signed. Bring Szczesny back. Szczesny's just signed a new contract with Juventus, so that's not going to happen. Mate, if they want me to sign up, so I fit your profile, we're happy to sit on the bench.
Well, congratulations, Tom.
Look, Cole would sit on the bench and just say swear words to Arteta and the Arsenal fans, due to the fact he's a United fan. He would not be able to take his United hat off.
Imagine the watch along that he could do from the bench. It'd be amazing.
Would you take Maguire? The heck no. Luke, would you take Maguire?
What, for painting and decorating or something? not as a footballer. Yeah.
Look, I know people want to banter Tottenham for considering Maguire, but if it fits your system, it will work. And funny enough, Tottenham have three at the back, just very much like how he plays at England. And to be fair, he plays okay for England. I wouldn't say he's brilliant, but he's okay. But if Anger is seeing that as the person that you kind of need, then, big up to you. Do you think Edu regrets signing Bruno Guimaraes for half the price of Casido and Rice? Huh?
Well, he's saying that because Bruno Guimaraes went for around about 40, and we're having to.
Oh, okay. He's trying to, okay. He's trying to have a little pop.
Well, I would, if I was a do, I don't know the reason why we didn't go in for him. Maybe he didn't quite fit the profile of character or whatever it is that we have. I don't necessarily. I'd like to know what that is. They probably, I'll never know, but I think sometimes we're a bit too specific with these sort of things. I would have signed Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I don't think there's any Arsenal fan that wouldn't, if we're all honest.
Yeah,
I think that one is a big error for Edu and Danilo, the one that's signed for Forest.
Another one.
I think that's another one that was an error, if I'm honest. But look, guys can make errors. He needs to get this summer right. 100% right. Doesn't have to be Declan Rice, doesn't have to be Caicedo. I'm not going to say you have to get these players, but you have to get the plan right. There is a plan. They know exactly what they're doing. They need to get the plan right. If it means don't get Declan, that's absolutely fine, but you need to get the next person in. There is other people. There's not just those two. And this is where people get confused with this. I wouldn't swear at my boss or the fans that pay my wages. Well, not yeah, I know. Yeah, he's a better backup than Holding. Look, there is a possible that Rob Holding will be leaving this summer, and we will be getting a new centre back. So watch this space on that one. So look, once the big deals are done, then we'll work on the getting some players out, getting some new players in. There's going to be more than just two players signing for Arsenal. I guarantee you that. There's going to be a lot of money spent at Arsenal. I guarantee you that. The Tierney one, I think Arsenal fans might have a little bit of a meltdown regarding the price. That's all I'll say about that. There's been some hard negotiation. And I do get it. I don't agree with it, but I do get it. But because I work in the football world, I get where they're coming from. I just don't agree with it.
I wouldn't sell, but as far as I'm, I know that I've said with Turner in terms of if he wanted to go, we'll let him go. But I think with Tierney, he is a more valuable player. And for me, we have to stop being bullied. That's how I see it. Because when we go in for a player, we're quoted 70, 80, 90 million. And yet when players can, we either pay people to leave or we let them go for peanuts. So if it's Newcastle coming in, you lot are starting at 75 mil because you're Newcastle. You're a direct rival. You've got the money. It's not my problem if you can't make it work with FFP. And that's not my problem.
Yeah.
I'm not saying of course, Newcastle aren't going to put in a bid for 75 mil, but you negotiate them down to a price that you are happy with. And, other clubs, obviously, you can't start them off at 75 mil. But for me, if we take any less than 40 million, I'm sorry, but the people doing that, they need to go. If you can't get get 40 million or more for Kieran Tierney, you're not good enough.
Fair enough. I guarantee what will happen when it gets announced. Right. The other ones we need to talk about is obviously the Conga. How much do you want for the Conga?
We brought him for what, around 20? Was it 20?
Yeah, around that 20. It can lead to like 21 or something like that.
I think I'd love to get 15 mil for him. I wouldn't take any less than 10 though. I think you have to accept that he's not really worked out here, but at a lower level, than what we need to be at. I think he's still a 10 to 15 mil player.
Yeah. We're going to go to trying to think who else it's Holding. How much would you want for Holding?
Yeah, Holding. I think between 15 to 20.
Okay. Sorry, I was just seeing Cole's comment where he used Tierney's out to 50 and Twix.
Cole, if that happens, I'm taking that Twix.
Madman. Okay, right. Let's discuss Party. There is a possibility he may go. So, how much would you want for Party?
Partey's still got 2 years left on his contract. I do think the way he tailed off will be a concern. If you are a club that wants to win things, they will look at that, and obviously his injury record. So I know we paid around 45 mil for him.
Yeah.
So I think, given that, I would say, but I still think he'll do a fantastic job for you, when fit most of the time. So I want 25 mil for him.
Really, that low?
Yeah, at least 25 mil. Yeah, I just don't think we're. If I'm looking at him, if I'm, I don't know, Napoli, or if I'm AC Milan or someone, they're not going to have the money the Premier League clubs have for a start, and I'd be looking to bring him in as almost like a backup maybe to someone I've already got, because we can't rely on him to be fit all season, and the way he tailed off would be a concern, but still the way he played up to that point is why you'd want him. So 25 mil minimum.
Okay. Now this is not a guarantee, but there is talk that Eddie might leave. So how much would you want for Eddie?
Eddie, I think 30 million for Eddie. He's he was a Chelsea player that West Ham, didn't they bid a 30? There was what's his name? Borja. He was on loan at Southampton.
Oh, yeah.
And West Ham wanted him. Chelsea kept him, and then they didn't play him.
Yeah, Brozier. That was the guy.
Brozier, yeah, right. So West Ham, the reason I want at least 30 is because West Ham did bid 30 million for him, and he'd had, a decent, an okay-ish season at Southampton. He scored around 6 goals. But I do think Eddie, playing in a system that suits him, playing every week, I think he's capable of like that sort of 10-goal mark, almost like a sort of Danny Ings, when he's fit, he's capable of doing. Yeah. So that's why I'd want 30 million for him.
All right, then. So the reason I've just done that is why I've been writing it down. Right, let's say we spend 180 on Moses and Declan. All right, with what you've just sold, gives us 200 million pounds left.
200.
Amazing. Yeah, 200. You've just brought us in 180 million. Now I've put Balogun straight in there because Balogun's price is set, so we know exactly how much we're getting for Balogun. Okay. So 180 for Tierney, Lokonga, Holding, Party, Xhaka, Eddie, and Balogun. So that brings in 180 million. That would cost. That's basically Caicedo and Declan money. So then we've still got 200 million left. That's amazing, isn't it? It's lovely, isn't it? This is why I've said Arsenal fans need to prepare that we're going to spend over 300 million. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a bit higher than that as well. But yeah, look, 200 million can buy us a good centre back, a good full back. Fresnes is available for 17 million. That's a bargain.
Yeah.
So 17 million for him. Let's say 50 million for a centre back. So that's 67. We've still got 133 left. So let's say who else would you want to go? Or actually, attacking midfielder. So who would you want as an attacking midfielder? Would you want Maddison?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that takes us down to 93 because Maddison costs 40 million. So we've still got 93 million pounds to play with. What would you do with 93 million quid?
Right. So I've got Caicedo, Rice, Maddison so far.
Yep. And we've got Fresneda, and we've got a centre back that was 50 million. So we've got
a centre back as well. So I've still got 90 odd million.
Yeah. So what would you do?
I'd be looking to get a centre forward.
Okay. Who would you look at for 93 million quid?
That opens a lot of doors. Probably not quite enough for Osimhen, but you could. I mean, I still do like Vlahovic. I reckon we
can get him for about 70, I reckon.
So he's someone that profile.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's other people that we could get.
Yeah, there will be. Yeah. Well, certain person that we both know would say a certain other person because he's worth 70 million euros. So we could get him for like 65 million. And you know who we're on about.
Yeah.
So he would probably say him. And that still leaves us like 30 million. So that could add another 7 million. You could get Elise for Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
but do you see why I'm saying like how much Arsenal could do if we're sensible about it? If we're sensible, we could do a lot.
And that's awesome. Say we did have Vlahovic. That means you'd have Vlahovic, Jesus, and Trossard. You could play centre forward. You could have Saka, Elise, and Jesus, who can play right wing forward. Left wing forward, you've got Martinelli, you've got Nelson, who's going to stay, isn't he? And Trossard as well.
Yeah.
And plus, there's Cozier Dubry, and who potentially could play a small part. So that forwards wise, that looks awesome.
And midfield wise, we've now got Jorginho, Rice, Caicedo, Maddison, Odegaard, ESR. That's not bad, is it? Let's be honest. It's a better. I've seen next summer we'll probably do more again. But for this summer, that's a team you can take in the Champions League and at least push on. I would say we'll win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not going there. But that's a good squad. But that's how Arsenal will be. Whether or not we get as much as you would like for certain ones, Tierney, I don't think we'll get as much as that. Holding, I was surprised if we get that much as well. Party, I think we'll get a bit more. Okay. I hope we do anyway, because 25 would annoy me, if I'm honest. Xhaka, it is what it is. Let's move on for that. Eddie, 30 million. If we're asking for 40 for Balogun, I think 30 for Eddie is about right. Maybe a bit closer to Balogun's price, maybe. But that's bringing 180 million, and that's without others that will be leaving as well. Like Pepe will be leaving, Suarez will be leaving. Maitland-Niles has already left. He's already said his goodbyes to Arsenal. So we're just waiting for that official announcement. But there's others that could be sold. If Turner does decide to leave, that's a
10 mil for him, couldn't you?
Say that again.
10 mil at least for him, Turner.
If I'm honest, probably 5. And that's not me being horrible. It's this international level. He's American. He's 28, 29 now.
Yeah.
I don't think we paid much more or around that anyway. I think we paid about 3 points something, didn't we, for Turner? We got Trusty. Trusty's got to leave as well.
Trusty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honestly, I told you, if we sell him for 2 million, right, I'm going to lose my head.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose my head on that one. I hope it's absolute rubbish, but me and you are both on Twitter sphere. I've seen people actually putting him down as 2 million outgoing, and I'm like, How are people seriously okay with saying Trusty, who's had a brilliant season,
Yeah.
a team that nearly got relegated in the Championship, was their best player by a million miles, is only worth £2 million when we paid more than that for him in the first place?
Yeah, you definitely get. Yeah, he's another one I'd be looking for at least 10 mil, because I think players that have played in the Championship only can go for that sort of money.
Yeah. The Championship players, the actual price tags for Championship players is not cheap anymore. They're expensive. No. So it is what it is. But Luke, really appreciate it. I know you've had a stressful morning. Really appreciate it. Where can everyone find you, my friend?
They can find me on Cross the Pond Sports Talk. Me and Moss, we're doing the Stanley Cup watch alongs. Moss wants to do some Canadian football, so it's called CFL. It's like the NFL. We'll be doing that Friday and Sunday, and you can find me on Twitter. The channel's pages at ATP Sports Talk, and my own personal account is at AFC Luke 84.
Brilliant stuff. It took me ages to realise it was actually you on Twitter. Luke, I was like, oh, it's Luke. I got you now.
Yeah.
I was like, it took me ages, and then I realised, oh, that's his handle. All right, got you. Really appreciate it. I will be back tonight with some loose cannons. Gumza and Canners is joining me to do this show tonight.
Nice.
So be looking forward to that. Luke, been a great show. Thank you ever so much for coming on and give me your ratings. Guys, we're out of here. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.